Okay, recording started. Hello, everyone. This is the preparation class for the software engineering midterm. We will be discussing GitHub basics, Lambda function basics, primitives, boxing, null safety, streams, and the two types of stream methods. There's intermediate and terminal ones, and the main methods they use in the streams, the advanced methods like collectors, etc. And we will also be solving the problems that wait, Spencer, you can't hear anything? Can everybody else hear me? Yo, Spencer, you ever wait, somebody in the chat tell Spencer to connect to the audio. Like in Zoom, you get the option to connect to local audio because I can see his name. It says Spencer and no microphone next to him. Okay, now he should be able to hear everything. So we'll be discussing the advanced methods like collectors, and then we will be solving the examples posted by the professor. So let's start with what GitHub is, like real quick. GitHub is called a version control system. So you know how in a video game you have actions. So let's say you have an NPC and you meet the NPC, you get two choices. Fight him. So right now you're here. You can fight them or you can befriend them. Suppose you choose fight. You choose the fight option. The game will progress and it will put another save spot. It will say that, okay, uh, choose. So you were given the choice and you chose fight. So you fight and he beats your ass. So the game will save it as well. Now, what if it did not have to be that way? Now you're regretting the experience and you want to go back to the choice. You want to turn back time. So since the game has a tracked list of the what happened, all you have to do is go back to the last save. So you could just go, okay, I want to go back to the choice so that you could choose to befriend him instead and not have to fight at all. So you could say, think of this as a working tree, and all of these are changes, and you can go back to the changes whenever you want. So GitHub is something similar. Uh, Actually, let me go back to the example of the game. So what if you wanted to have like from the choice, you wanted to make an alternate save where you could just mess around and do whatever. And then when you feel confident, so let's say you meet the NPC, right? And you have the choice here. So after the choice, you want to have a safe area where you can do whatever. And if you like it enough, you can keep it as the main timeline. It's like timelines in a multiversal movie. So, there's a main timeline. Suppose you wake up and you feel very sleepy, you have a class. So in the main timeline, you go to class and your day goes on as usual. What if you wanted to do something experimental? What if after waking up, you wanted to make an alternate route where you skip the class? So you skipped the class and then you failed the subject because you skipped the class. So this branch is not really favorable, right? You can see that you fail the subject. You don't want this branch. So you can just, since this is an alternate branch, it's not affecting your main timeline. You can just delete this whole timeline and nothing goes wrong. it was all just a dream. If, however, instead of failing the class for skipping it, you don't get any consequences and everything went fine, then you can merge this branch with the main timeline and you can just keep this. Now, in terms of programming, the purpose of GitHub is you have every single change you do in a GitHub repository. By the way, repository is just like a project in GitHub, and it will track every single change you make to the project. So suppose you have a Java file and you add new stuff to the file. Yeah, you want to add new stuff to the file every line that you add. So you have like a simple printout statement. Even this gets added to the GitHub. So the GitHub will keep every single change you make to the file in the form of a tree, much like the video game. And this is called the working tree in GitHub. So you create a new file, GitHub will keep track of that. It will say created file. Then when you added that line s out, it will have that as well. And then when you make another change, let's say you changed s out. So instead of this, you erase it. You erase that line and you put, let's just say you s out something. GitHub will track that as well. So it will say here something like this. Like it will track what you did. And this is all in on the working tree. And by default, the main timeline is so instead of timelines in GitHub, you have branches. This is the main branch. And everything that happens here is main. So suppose you don't like what you did and you want to go back to the empty file. All you have to do is you can revert the commit back to you can go back to here or you can go all the way back to the root commit. It's all fine. So the main thing that will happen in the exam is branches. So suppose you created a new file. So it's a new empty file. I'll put the file here. Like everything in this box is that file. So you create a new file, it's empty. So new file. And you want to add some lines of code, but you're not sure if you want to keep it in the main timeline. So for that, you create a new branch. You can go here and create a new branch. You can call this development, just, experimental, whatever you want to call it. Create a new branch, and then you add a line in this new branch. You can just say like S out something. So the change will be tracked in on this branch. Yeah. So you can S out like test here. Now this change will be tracked on the dev branch. If you switch back to the main branch, this one, this will suddenly disappear because this is only on the dev branch. Then later on, once you like the changes and you've tested them, you can merge dev with the main branch, after which this will become the main timeline. So let's go into a project and I'll show how it works. So this is just a folder, right? It's just a folder, it's just a project. Now, if you want to work on a local repository, what that means is there's remote repositories and local repositories. Remote means that it's on github.com. It's hosted on the internet, and whatever changes you make, you have to push it to the internet. It's like the homework that he gave, just like that. Local would mean that you never push it online. It's everything happens locally. So as you know, GitHub is used to track changes. It doesn't have to be online. The changes can be saved local. So how do you make a repository locally? So you have a project here, right? And this does not have a repository. See? So in IDEA, you can go create Git repository and it can create the repository here. Or you can go to the terminal. Really, I prefer Git bash. You can go to Git bash and you can write Git in it. It will create a GitHub repository. You can go version control, create Git repository. It's the same thing. Uh, which one do I go for? So thing is, there might be different versions of IDEA and all that. So I think the safe choice would be to use the command line. Of course, keep this in mind as well, just in case, but I prefer using Git init. So enter. Initialized empty Git repository in, I gave my whole path and it created a Git repository here. Now, the first thing you notice is the colors start changing. Form.xml is red, or every file in the project became red. See, main is red, gitignore is red, form.xml is red. This means that these files are not being tracked by Git right now. It's just an empty Git repository. So you need to add these files to the repository, so to the project, so that Git can start tracking it. So in order to do that, you to use the git add command. So one very common command that people use is git add period. So git add and period. What this means, period means that in this current directory, every single file just add the whole thing to git. So if I do git add, I could do, if I would just want to add form.xml, I can do git add form.xml. And you can see form.xml turned green. That means form.xml is now being tracked by GitHub. What if I want to add every single file in the directory? So I do git add period. See, all of these files should get, they should turn green. Yep, they do. So now main and gitignore also turn green. So they're all being tracked by GitHub. So I go to, let's say I create a new class. So this is something, it says, do you want to add the following file to Git? You can add it manually, or you can just click add here, and it's added to the GitHub repository already. You can see it turns green. So branches. Let me just look at the syntax for creating a new branch. I use checkout, but I think there's a different syntax. Okay. Mm. Alright. So there's two commands. There is git branch and there is git checkout. So checkout, if you want to remember it, it's like, when you check out of a hotel, you're going somewhere else. So you check out of the hotel, the dormitory, wherever you live in. So it's like that. So suppose I have the test class, right? And it, let me just turn this off. By the way, this is not allowed in the exam. This suggestion thing. This is AI, and if you're caught using this in the exam, you're going to fail. So you can turn it off by, well, you should never use IntelliJ IDEA Premium in the exam, only the community edition. If somehow you're using Premium in an exam, which itself is a failing thing, you will fail if he catches you using it. But go to these settings and this, this, disable it. All right. Done. So just actually instead of test, I'll write it in the main class because it has the public static void main. So let's say we want to print out hello, the main timeline. We want to create it. If I run it right now, you can see it says hello main timeline. Now I want to do something experimental. I want to say like hello alternate timeline. I want to do some other calculation in main, but I don't want to risk my current timeline messing up. So I go to the terminal and I create a new branch using git branch and the branch name. I can call it experimental. You can call it whatever you want. Not a valid object. Name master. So I think I have to do git branch. So usually I use this command, checkout. If you're already using checkout, then I also recommend just use this. Git checkout B. This creates the branch and it switches to it as well. But Sadhvan recommended that I use the other one. So I'll just use the basic creation syntax. That's weird. According to the internet, that should have worked like the previous command. Git branch new. Okay, so it doesn't seem to be working. Let me just try this one. Git checkout. Yeah. So my command works. Git checkout be experimental. So what this does is git checkout is used to change to a branch. Minus B is an extra parameter that tells it to create a new branch and then switch to it. So if you use git checkout, you only have to learn one command instead of two commands. So I recommend using this. So git checkout be experimental. You can see that it is in experimental now. If I want to switch back to master, I do git checkout master. Hmm. This is some local repository stuff. Wait, don't tell me there's no master branch. This is actually my first time working with a local repository. Usually I work with remotes. Mm. Well, this is weird, but if it happens to you in the exam, just create a branch called master because in the exam you don't have time to mess around and he might fail you if this happens. So just create master. So now you have master and experimental. But this is weird behavior from GitHub. It usually doesn't do that. The git status on branch master, no changes, but it's tracking the changes. You can see that it's a new file and the changes that are made in the file modified main and test. So why isn't it look like it's not letting me list the branches either? But yeah, so let's say I'm in master now, right? Yeah, this command is bugging. But I'm in the master branch. You can see which branch you're in by here. So if I go to the main file and I have hello main timeline, and I want to keep this change inside, like, I want to save it on the tree here, all I have to do is commit this change. So git commit, and minus M means like the commit message. So git commit, and the message is then it will commit this change to the master's branch here. Then after this, if I switch now using git checkout, I want to switch to the other timeline. I want to switch to experimental. It's saying it couldn't find the experimental branch. Yeah, Ricardo, have you ever seen this behavior before? Or actually, I think I'll end this meeting and I'll figure out what's happening right now. Yeah, and I'll explain the minus M and AM in the next one as well. Because this is weird. It's never happened to me before. So I'll figure out what it's doing and I'll start the next meeting in like 10 minutes once the cooldown wears off. So I'll see you guys in the next one.